It is impossible to go back to the old 12th lunar month, to the scene where the city was crowded with people every day. That era is gone. Now, as long as we can survive, it is already considered good. How many people can no longer even afford to buy a mask? We need to think carefully about how to survive. The current situation is completely wrong, brothers. I already withdrew last year. At this time of year, people should be making money, yet now they are barely hanging on. Today is the 11th day of the 12th lunar month, and the market situation is extremely tragic. This year may be the coldest spring festival in history. You can see that workers are no longer eager to return home for the Lunar New Year. In the past, everyone rushed back to their hometowns, but now the anticipation of going home has turned into resistance and even fear. I once dreamed of becoming someone who could control the world, but now I owe wages to farmers. They come every day to demand payment, and they will return again in less than 20 days. The amount of money involved is huge. Who would have thought that during the Lunar New Year season, when it used to be difficult to even find a place to stay, business would become this bleak? I thought I could earn more money and achieve better results during the New Year period, but instead I now work from morning until night with hardly any customers. After the Spring Festival, I stand in the back hall and look out. In previous years, people queued endlessly, coming and going non-stop. But this year, all you see are empty seats. There is no one. On this year's Lunar New Year's Eve may be the coldest ever. It is the Spring Festival, can you believe it? Many young people do not even have 5,000 yuan in savings. Most of them will not go home for the New Year. Look at the streets. Are people coming out at all? Physical retail had already declined badly last year, and now it looks even emptier. Even in Hangzhou, in winter market tents and wholesale areas, the situation is the same. Vendors ask each other whether it is even worth opening their stalls. Rent is lost, labor costs are lost, electricity bills are lost, and fewer people appear on the streets. At the end of the year, there is almost no one outside. What exactly is happening in this world? It is already past midnight. I am watching videos while my wife and children wait at home for food to be cooked, as workers find it extremely difficult to get jobs. Before the Spring Festival, KTVs are once again shutting down one after another. This is already the 5th KTV to close this month. During peak periods, there used to be many customers, but now there are at most 4 or 5 people. It has been more than 20 days since we returned, and life is still so hard. The elevators that used to stop on every floor during the New Year season are now nearly empty. Ordinary people truly do not want to go home for the New Year, especially when they have not earned enough money. If there is no money in your pocket, going home for the New Year becomes a disaster. Old houses remain unrepaired, roofs still leak, and people continue pushing carts just to survive. The closer the New Year approaches, the colder and emptier the streets feel. Shops that were once lively and bustling are now completely deserted. There are barely any people even shopping for New Year goods. I truly do not know what to do anymore. From Zhengzhou to the outskirts of the city, business has collapsed. On the high-speed train, an entire carriage has only 3 passengers, while the carriage behind it is empty despite having room for 50. Clothing stores are no longer lively after the Laba festival. Many shop owners now sit inside scrolling on their phones, watching short videos, occasionally glancing outside to see if anyone passes by. With only a few days left before the New Year, business owners feel completely lost. There is no festive atmosphere at all. Everyone says the same thing. Business is no longer moving. It is getting harder and harder, anxiety is growing, and no one can see a future. Bus terminals that were once glorious, such as Keiyun stations, are now in chaos. Tickets are unsold, income is barely sustainable, and people leave early because there is no reason to stay. Streets are empty, and it is hard to see even a few pedestrians. Business is not going well. No one is buying anything. Prices have already been lowered again and again, yet sales remain minimal. As the Lunar New Year of 2026 approaches, countless netizens have posted videos showing markets in decline and businesses struggling. Many say that the most miserable and cold New Year in Chinese history is coming. China's economy is already collapsing, industries across the mainland are in severe trouble, and surviving the year has become extremely difficult. Factories, shops, and companies are shutting down, people are losing their jobs, and many are drowning in debt. Consumer spending continues to fall, and the New Year goods markets remain ice cold. It is not that products are bad or too expensive, and it is not that customers are unwilling to buy. Everything feels distorted: prices, services, and even the meaning of products themselves. In places like Dajing Market, which used to be crowded every afternoon, the scene is now completely empty. No one is buying vegetables. Supermarkets that invested millions of yuan are announcing closure, appliances are being sold at clearance prices, and 2025 has become the worst year of the past decade. People from Henan, Huaibei, and other regions say that everyone entered New Year mode unusually early, yet business never picked up. Clothing sellers with over 10 years of experience admit they can no longer survive. Physical stores everywhere face the same fate. Friends report losing up to 85% of their capital. Train stations in cities like Shenzhen are empty, barbershops struggle to survive despite heavy investment, and long-established bus terminals in Chengdu and other cities are being dismantled or converted into sports facilities. Repair shops report their worst revenue ever during what should be the busiest season. Streets, malls, supermarkets, and cinemas are all deserted. Lanterns and candles for the new year go unsold, and silence fills the air. People ask why consumers feel panic, why the rich continue living comfortably while ordinary people struggle to even eat. Mansions and luxury cars stand in sharp contrast to those who cannot afford basic living costs. In the end, these are the bitter jokes of people at the bottom of society. Many believe that the Chinese people are trapped in helplessness, and that the policies of the Chinese Communist Party and Xi Jinping have devastated the economy. For countless families, especially those at the lowest levels of society, the New Year is no longer a celebration, but a painful and difficult period to endure.
A city does not collapse overnight. It fades quietly, street by street, light by light, person by person. And if you walk through Shanghai today, you will feel it immediately. This is not the Shanghai people remember. This is not the city that once swallowed crowds, ambition, money, and dreams. Something has changed, and it is happening silently. There was a time when entering Shanghai on a weekend felt like stepping into a living organism. The sidewalks were packed. The subways were suffocating. You couldn't move without brushing past strangers. Every corner buzzed with energy, noise, transactions, and desire. People came here believing that if they could just survive in this city, they had already won. But today, you can stand on the same streets and feel something unsettling. The crowds are gone. Walk down what used to be the busiest commercial arteries. Streets that once never slept. The neon lights are still there, still flashing, still pretending. But look closer. Turn into the side streets. That's where the truth lives now. Rental signs hang everywhere like quiet distress signals. Empty storefronts stare back at you. The silence is loud. This isn't an illusion. This isn't nostalgia. Data confirms what your eyes already know. Store vacancy rates are climbing. High-end retail is shrinking. Even prime commercial zones are bleeding tenants. Landlords who once dictated impossible rents are now negotiating, begging, lowering prices, yet still unable to stop the exits. And here's the most disturbing part. It's not just small businesses failing. It's confidence that's collapsing. Mo, a milk tea shop owner who spent 5 years in Shanghai, said something chilling on the day he closed his store. Don't open a shop, he warned. It's not that money is hard to make. It's that nobody wants to spend anymore. Even the rich are clutching their wallets. When consumption disappears, a city like Shanghai loses its heartbeat. After 7 in the evening, streets that once forced you to shuffle sideways are now eerily spacious. You can turn around freely. You can step in and stare. You can hear your own footsteps. In a city built on movement, stillness feels unnatural. Near People's Square, there are shopping centers that used to define youth culture. For an entire generation, these places were icons, trend sanctuaries, social hubs, identity factories. Everyone knew them. Everyone went there. To be seen there meant you belonged. Now, entire floors are closed. Corridors echo, escalators move but carry no one. Security guards outnumber customers. When even the guards sigh, you know something is wrong. Some malls are trying to reinvent themselves. They pivot to niche subcultures. Anime merchandise, cosplay outfits, themed cafes. It feels creative on the surface, but desperation seeps through the cracks. These new industries are not expanding. They are replacing what died. And replacement is not recovery. Foot traffic remains thin. Sales are minimal. Shops survive day to day, hoping for a miracle that never comes. One blogger described the atmosphere perfectly. It feels like 10 years of winter followed by another 10 years of winter. Not a recession, a prolonged freeze. And this phenomenon is not confined to Shanghai. What you see here is simply more visible, only more concentrated. Other cities are following the same trajectory, quietly, relentlessly. Closures spread like a slow tide. But statistics don't tell the most painful story. People do. Consider a couple from the countryside who poured everything they had into a home in Shanghai. Over 3 million yuan. Years of savings, family support, dreams compressed into concrete walls. The logic was simple. Endure hardship now, secure a future later. That logic once worked in Shanghai. Now it's collapsing. Their apartment is old, poorly insulated, expensive to maintain. The mortgage exceeds 10,000 yuan per month. Utilities pile up. Income stagnates. Each time they check their bank balance, the numbers shrink, mocking them silently. Sleep becomes impossible. Anxiety becomes routine. The question no longer is how to get ahead, but how to survive. If I can't earn more, the homeowner admits, I might lose everything. The thought of returning to their hometown feels like defeat. 20 years of effort, gone. Yet staying feels equally impossible. Their final safety net is the old house back home, the last retreat. Sell it, and they might hold on in Shanghai a little longer. But the cost is brutal. Their child would have to leave the city, return to a rural school, and restart life from scratch. A single decision reshapes an entire family's future. If they sell, they lose their roots. If they don't, they risk default. There is no winning choice, only different kinds of loss. This is the reality behind the city's fading lights. Shanghai didn't become poor overnight. It became cautious, then fearful, then exhausted. A year ago, people still spoke of love for this city. They packed their bags, rushed in, hoping to catch the last train upward. Now, when you call friends to meet, you discover they've already left. Quietly, without announcements, without farewell posts. The city didn't push them out with force. It drained them until they chose to leave. What makes this moment dangerous isn't collapse, it's normalization. Empty streets start to feel normal. Closed shops become background noise. Silence stops alarming us. That's when decline truly sets in. Shanghai was once a promise, a symbol, a belief that effort would be rewarded, that growth was inevitable. Today, that belief is cracking. And when belief disappears, recovery becomes infinitely harder than rebuilding buildings. This is not just a story about one city, it's a warning. When confidence evaporates, even the strongest looking systems weaken. When people stop spending, stop risking, stop dreaming, no stimulus can resurrect momentum. Shanghai is still standing, the lights are still on, but something essential is missing. And if you listen closely beneath the hum of electricity and empty escalators, you can hear it. The quiet sound of a city learning how to shrink. China's poverty trap. Exposed. The underclass in despair. I want to ask everyone, are there really no poor people anymore? Can farmers truly make 200,000 yuan a year just by farming? Are people poor simply because they are lazy? Because they don't work hard enough? Is this really how the rich see us? This scene took place in 2026 at the Liaojun Mountains scenic area in Henan. Porters there carry multiple cases of bottled water and dozens of boxes of instant noodles on every trip. Each case contains 24 bottles. Usually they carry 4 to 6 cases at a time, over 100 to 150 pounds. With labor this intense, can anyone still call them lazy? Who doesn't want to slow down? Who doesn't want to enjoy life? Who doesn't want to stop and admire the scenery ahead? Yet many people equate poverty with laziness. In their eyes, the poor are poor because they lack effort, ambition, or discipline, as if poverty itself were a moral failing. Even worse, some flaunt their wealth and impose their own value systems on the world, never realizing that their so-called life principles exist only because they have never witnessed the suffering of the lower classes. They do not understand that countless people spend their entire lives struggling merely to survive. They assume that if something is expensive and others cannot afford it, it must be due to a lack of vision, ability, or foresight. What they fail to see is that for those at the bottom, survival alone consumes all their time and strength. There is no surplus energy to plan a future or search for an escape. A striking example is a deputy director of the Beijing Municipal Human Resources and Social Security Bureau. Well, he once experienced life as a food delivery driver for a day, working 12 hours straight and earning only 41 yuan. He couldn't help but exclaim how difficult it was to earn that money. "You worked all day and only made this much? This money is incredibly hard to earn." During one order that took over an hour, he earned just 6.6 yuan, while the platform deducted nearly 60%. Only then did he understand why delivery drivers rush frantically through dozens of orders each day. Even with such relentless effort, many still end the month with no savings. Isn't that hard work? And yet reality is merciless. They exhaust their bodies, but the cloud of insecurity above them never lifts. In Chinese society, 95% of the population sustains the happiness of the remaining 5%. I'm not exaggerating, someone once said. Well, in Western societies, because labor costs are high, even the poorest individuals can earn 100 or 200 Canadian dollars a day doing odd jobs like mowing lawns, shoveling snow, or gardening. It's not about skills, it's about income structure. There is a shared trait among developed countries. Labor is expensive, while essential goods are relatively affordable. The poor possess only one asset, labor. When labor is valued highly, the cost of living rises for the wealthy but falls for the poor, because the poor can sell their labor at a fair price. They may not become rich, but they can at least secure a dignified life. Underdeveloped countries show the opposite pattern. Labor is extremely cheap, while prices are painfully high. Think carefully about what that means.